is too much Jesus in this room for you to come in and leave in the darkness of your days. I need you to look at somebody, put a big grin on your face, and shout, good morning. Says when we start praying, you ought to just get happy about who God is. You ought to get excited about the fact that you get the chance to talk to the God for whom nothing is impossible. You get the chance to come into his presence and know that you have access to the holy God of the universe. This is good, my brothers and sisters. God is revered. He's respected. He is reverenced. He is high and holy, and we still have relationship with him. It is the Aramaic word that Jesus uses here beyond pater, which is the Greek word for father. He uses the Aramaic word Abba, and Abba is the child's word for their father. It is the word that a child uses to show that he or she has an engendered relationship with their father. It is a daddy type word. It is not.
Bible, yes, that's the book for me. I stand alone on the word of God, the Bible.
A man known in history for recognizing Black history? Stay tuned for more as we share fun facts about the life of Carter G. Woodson, the father of Black history. Carter G. Woodson is known in history as an author, publisher, and historian, born December 19, 1875 in Virginia. Carter's mother and father were former slaves, where he was the oldest of 9 children. During that time, Carter did not have access to school like many children do today, so most of his education was self-taught. Woodson also attended Berea College in Kentucky until being kicked out due to the school not allowing African American students. He would later return when African Americans were allowed to earn his bachelor's degree in 1903. Looking back at the life of Carter G. Woodson, in school he enjoyed education and was very smart. In fact, he was so smart that he became the second African American in history to graduate from Harvard University. As an author, Carter G. Woodson wrote over a dozen books, including the book Miseducation of the Negro, which is still required reading for some schools in this country today. Woodson was also involved in other projects, including establishing the scholarly publication Journal of Negro History in 1916 and the Negro History Bulletin in 1937, which helped teachers with African American studies. Wanting African American history to be a part of education throughout the nation, Carter began to travel. In February of 1926, Woodson began going from school to school and other organizations, offering them a special program that encouraged others to study Black history with Negro History Week. For example, if you are wondering why he chose February, Woodson wanted this time of education to be honored by the birth months of Frederick Douglass and President Abraham Lincoln. The week would go from a week to a month, which is now commonly known as Black History Month. Woodson would spend his life focusing on education and would even become the dean at Howard University and the West Virginia Collegiate Institute. The life of Carter G. Woodson came to an end at the age of 74 on April 3, 1950 in Washington, D.C. That is all with a mini biography from the life of Carter G. Woodson. If you enjoyed this video and have more fun facts you would like to share about his life, feel free to let us know in the comments below, and thank you for watching Fresburg Cartoon. Also, take a moment to subscribe to our channel, clicking the all notifications option to get instant alerts when we share new educational videos helping your mind grow. Thanks for watching and have a great day.
Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther, Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, Daniel, Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi, Matthew, Mark, Luke,
A miracle is when you're saved by Jesus.
A miracle is when you're saved by God and baptized.
A miracle is when the Lord woke you up another day.
A miracle is when something that you really needed and prayed for to happen came true.
A miracle is a blessing.
A miracle is something good that happens out of nowhere.
A miracle is a blessing.
Miracles make me feel very happy because it knows that God will always be with me no matter what.
Miracles usually make me feel happy or excited because it's most of the time something good.
Miracles make me feel great because it's that something good happened to me and I feel saved.
Miracles make me feel happy and amazing inside. Something good happens and I feel saved also.
Miracles make me feel good because knowing that one miracle is letting me live another day on this life.
God's story, John. So part of God's story is about a man named John, and it begins like this. One day, John was fishing with his brother James and his dad Zebedee. His dad was a fisherman, so John had gone fishing a lot ever since they were really little. They were out in a boat, and John might even had a couple of big, fat, juicy worms in his hand for fish bait. In the middle of fishing, they met Jesus. Jesus called to John and his brother and said, "Come, follow me." Right away, they left their boat and their dad to follow Jesus. If Jesus asks you to do something, it's a good idea to do what he says. After all, he only wants what's best for you. Well, from that day on, John was great friends with Jesus. John knew that Jesus really, really loved him, just like Jesus really, really loves everyone. It feels good when you know somebody loves you, doesn't it? But John knew there were things he could do to become better friends with Jesus. Like he could talk to Jesus about what was happening in his life, and he could listen to Jesus and obey him. He could also spend time with Jesus to get to know him better. So they hung out all the time, so much in fact that Jesus gave John a rockin' nickname. Jesus started calling him Son of Thunder. With a name like that, John probably could have given up fishing and become a pro wrestler, but he didn't. Maybe that's because pro wrestling hadn't even been invented back then. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, while John and Jesus were hanging out, Jesus did some other pretty awesome things. Like heal some sick people, feed a crowd of thousands with only 5 loaves of bread and a couple of fish, walk on top of the water, and make one of his friends who had died come back to life. Imagine you had a best friend who was a doctor, a chef, and had superpowers. That's what it was like for John with Jesus. Well, Jesus told John that pretty soon he had to go back to heaven. This made John sad. John missed Jesus a lot after Jesus left for heaven, but the great thing about being friends with Jesus is that John could still pray to him and listen to him, just like we can today. Prayer just means talking to God and Jesus, asking them for what we need, saying sorry for bad choices we made, thanking them for what they've given us, and just telling them how we feel. So while Jesus was in heaven, John kept on talking to Jesus and listening to him. And one day, Jesus showed John a picture, kind of like how we see our dreams while we're asleep. John had to sit very quietly so he could see the picture. Sometimes it's hard to sit quietly, or it feels boring, but that's when we can really hear Jesus and see what he wants to show us. Jesus was showing this picture with John because John was listening to him, but Jesus wanted everybody to see it. So John wrote it down on paper, and now it's part of the Bible. It's called the Book of Revelation. Kids, a revelation is a new thing you learn. The Book of Revelation tells us how Jesus wants us to live and things he wants people who follow him to do. Some of the things in Revelation sound pretty crazy, but it all ends with Jesus coming back from heaven to rescue us. He's going to come back to earth and make all the wrong things right. Revelation tells us there won't be any more crying or sickness or loneliness or fear when Jesus gets here. By the way, Jesus wanted John to share the picture because he loves everybody as much as he loves John. And we can pray and listen to Jesus too, just like John. And that's the story of John. So in case you missed it, here's a quick version. John met Jesus. Jesus asked John to follow him. John did. He became good friends with Jesus. Jesus left for heaven. John prayed and listened to Jesus. We can pray and listen to Jesus too. Jesus showed John a picture. The picture shows that Jesus is going to make all the wrong things right. Jesus wants to do this for everybody in the whole world. And that's a part of God's story.
So once the kids say that they want to be baptized, you let the parents know so they can walk down to join. And once they join, or once they go to the back with intake ministry, one of the children trains individuals will talk to them about salvation, about who Jesus is. They'll ask, do you know who Jesus is? What did he do for the world? And all of that. And once we get that together and they take their picture, the next step